Hello, Strandberg fans, and welcome to another Stranded live stream. Um, tonight, this morning, wherever you are, I'm absolutely thrilled to have Plini join us on the stream to celebrate, if you will, the release of two new Plini guitar models. So yeah, welcome Pliny, I think. There you are. Good morning to you.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Yes, evening here. There's a horrible delay suddenly, but let's try and work past that, and I'm sure we'll live through the day.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. I'm looking at you with you have a totally blank face and I'm listening to you talk, and then about a minute later your mouth moves and then I see myself smiling. And
The yeah, the joys of live broadcasting. But internet, welcome. I see there are tons of you watching on the stream. We're thrilled to have you. And I think what we'll do is Pliny will play a song. And while he's doing that, you think of amazing, intelligent, funny, or whatever questions to ask Pliny. And we're also going to talk about like the specs of the guitars, etc. But yeah, we're here for you. Ask Pliny questions. Maybe he'll play a song towards the end as well, if it gets too quiet. So yeah, Pliny, what are you going to play for us?
I am going to play a song called Pan, which I've played publicly once since it came out about 2 years ago. It's 8 a.m. This will be pretty much my first activity of the day. So if there are any wrong notes, they were probably something that happened while I was sleeping that hasn't caught up to me yet. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And now for my extremely
And I'm happy to
high-tech.
say, I'm happy to say that I'm seeing you talk almost in real time now. So I think we're past the technology issues. I hope I didn't jinx it now, but
Yeah, I'm going to try my extremely high-tech angle change, which is wrenching a tripod. And now
awesome.
we will play the song.
Take it away. Take it away. Wow, as always. Very, very cool.
Thank you.
So you have been out playing live though, very recently. Was
Yeah, I
that the
played
second
one-
time you played this song?
Aside from rehearsals, yeah. We played one gig, and it was a festival, so it was probably the most, I guess, juxtaposed experience to not playing that can possibly happen. And pretty much everything, not everything, but a lot of things went wrong in the lead up. My drummer had to isolate because of the thing that has kept us all at bay recently. So I got Troy, who I hadn't played with for about 5 years. Basically, in the last 3 days, he learnt some new songs, and he lives in another city, so he flew down for a rehearsal. While we were in the rehearsal, the sound guy had a family emergency, so we last minute found a new sound guy, who I didn't actually meet him until after the show, so I saw him about 50 meters away. I saw him mixing it, but I didn't meet him. I didn't, until afterwards. And there was one moment in rehearsal I was like bent over on the ground trying to work out why we couldn't get I think it was like the click or something, couldn't get it to appear in the in-ears at all. And Jake, who plays guitar with me, was like, "Have you seen the text message?" And I looked up from the ground and I was like, "No, what text message?" And our flight had been cancelled. And then it was automatically rebooked for like a different flight that was like an hour earlier or later or something, so it wasn't an emergency in the end. And the car rental agencies have mostly sold their van fleets during the pandemic, because I guess no one's renting like the larger capacity vehicles, so we couldn't get a van, so we had hired like 2 small hatchbacks, and that was also a last minute thing. We had a van booking and got an email saying, "I'm sorry, we can't fulfill your request." Uh, so we added an extra driver. And then we got to the airport, asked the rental agency. They had a van, so we all got into it, and it was fine. Got to the festival. It was like a beautiful sunny day, which for this part of Australia, I think the last few years they've had this festival, it's been rainy. It's kind of like download in the UK. It's like people expect it's going to be a muddy, rainy sort of thing. And then it was all good. It was incredibly confusing being on stage. I totally had no idea where I'm meant to look. Like, what am I meant to do? After we played the first song, I took out one of my in-ears just to see if anyone was making any noise. And I think the way that I'd like tightened the cable or something, I pulled the actual in-ear off the wire that attaches it and accidentally like threw it onto the ground. So I spent the next minute trying to find this little piece of in-ear and plug it back in. And then we played a few songs, and actually it reminded me of the first gig I ever did because I didn't really have the mental capacity to enjoy it till about like the last minute of the set. And then I was like, oh, this is fun. And then yeah.
Well, welcome back to normal life.
Yeah.
And I guess it can only get better from here then.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was a great gig.
Yeah.
All the notes happened, the sound all happened. Yeah, it was fun. Definitely looking forward to playing again.
Awesome stuff. So yeah, let's get the chores out of the way. You're here because we're launching your 2 new signature guitars. Tell us a little bit about them, and then we will take questions from all of you viewers.
Yeah. So there's the 2 of them. I'll just show you this one before it's out of reach.
Ooh, nice.
We thought because you designed it.
Okay, I won't say it.
I guess you can, because when I finish a new song, I listen to it like 100 times, and I'm just stoked with myself. And then it's released, and then I forget all about it, and I'm just focused on doing something else.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so the 2 models, there's the Bowden Prog NX Me edition, which has the updated neck profile, which is much slimmer, so you can spend all the time you want at the 24th fret just bending as high as possible. And for this one, we've changed some of the wood, so it's now a mahogany body and a mahogany neck. I remember when we were prototyping it, because we weren't going to do the swamp ash body anymore for this one, we tried, was it sassafras?
Yeah.
And that one I feel like was really close to the ash as a guitar, but it just wasn't as pretty. And I think you had just put out what was the first mahogany body guitar you did? Was it the Salin?
It was a Bowden DR was actually before.
Ah, that's right. Yeah. I have this thing with, it happens with you every time you put out a guitar that's prettier than mine. I'm kind of like, I'm mad at you. And it happens with Neural DSP every time they release a new plugin that has a feature that I like that mine doesn't have. I'll be using it and I'll be like, wow, this is great, but also I hate you. Like, why didn't we think of this for me? Yeah, and I think it kind of started with the mahogany being more beautiful, and then a lot of conversation about how that might affect the tone. But ultimately, it hasn't affected it to me in a huge way. And I almost think like this is something that we've talked about a lot, is the fact that the guitar is so beautiful in a new way is almost like the inspiring element. Like it kind of wouldn't matter what it sounds like. It sounds good because it looks and feels good.
Yeah, yeah, I think there's a lot to that, and I mean, it's if you're inspired by looking at it and playing it, that's going to come through in your playing, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, I'm surprised because the Neck-Thru has been what I've played. I think I got to do about a year or two of touring with it. And there's one, I have a couple, and there's one in particular, like the one single guitar that is, like I've written in permanent marker inside the back of it, one, because it's like the guitar, and it's just the best guitar. But since I've been playing this, the NX more, I almost want to play it, like take it on tour and use it as my main guitar, just because I like looking at the kind of the side profile, looking down at the mahogany. It's like, it's new and exciting to see that. But then there's also the black one, which is spec-wise, it's the same as the previous Neck-Thru, but in a new finish. And yeah,
The
it's kind of
dark
awesome.
side of the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, Isaac is having a great time on Instagram, coming up with every moon and night pun possible. But yeah. Yeah, it's kind of...
And do you keep them in different tunings and play both, or do you just switch between like different songs or whatever?
Yeah, just switch between different songs. So for this one gig that I've done, I played the black one because it was a metal festival, so I thought it would be appropriate. But I've taken both to rehearsal. Yeah, and it's I feel like since we started doing guitars together, I have been catching up to what it's like to be someone that has lots of guitars and knows how they're different and what's fun about them. I still don't travel with a guitar tech, but I feel like that's a luxury that I might have to indulge in soon, so I can have like 4 or 5 guitars. When I first started playing, I relearnt the songs in different tunings into just the same drop C sharp, so I wouldn't have to change guitars or anything. So there's no reason for a guitar change. And even like the song that I just played, I recorded it on a 7-string, and I learnt it for the tour that's was meant to happen a year ago on the 7-string. And then because the first thing happening was this festival, I didn't want to have to deal with a guitar change or anything for a new song, so I'm just using a pitch shift for all the lower notes. And there's a part in the middle where there's like a bar of melody and then a bar of pitch shifted rhythm guitar, and it's really fun having the pedal do everything for me. But yeah, in future tours it'd be awesome to have like 4 or 5 guitars side stage and someone to hand them to me, just so I can be like, this is the song where I want to look down and see mahogany, this is the song where I want to look down and see just like this all dark matte black. And yeah, and I guess, although this is not the stream to mention it, that new Saal and Jazz, the burgundy one, I definitely going to take that on a tour, because that thing is incredibly pretty. But not as pretty as my guitars, of course.
No. Yeah. All that remains to look down on is a built-in tuner, right?
Yeah, That's yeah, you've in in um in engineering the guitar into the future, you've forgotten that the headstock is a great place to clip on a tuner. And it does work, but I think it looks kind of silly to have a clip-on tuner on the little stub.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, yeah, you got to do a
Yeah.
built-in. But I
It'll
guess
happen one
maybe
day.
it's kind of it's a race between you to design the built-in tuner and me to hire a guitar tech. We'll see what happens first.
Yeah, sounds good. So Isaac, our amazing moderator, do you have any questions for Pliny that you can field for us?
Hello. Yes, I sure do. Question from Jonathan. Are there any particular strategies you use when writing? How do you stay creative?
That's a cool profile picture. I'm trying to figure out what's happening. It's kind of like lying on the ground. Strategies. Being very patient. I think that's one of the kind of if you made a list of top 5 or 10 strategies, I'd say that's definitely in the top 5. Just kind of being easy on myself. That not every day is going to produce a gem, and sometimes you got to wait days or weeks or months to come up with something that's worth exploring. So I guess that's kind of the starting point, is just messing around patiently until something arises that's worth pursuing. And then going from there. As well as that, I guess, listening to a wide range of different music to find new ideas, new inspiration, so that once the worthwhile idea has happened, I can try a bunch of new things, or new to me, with developing it. And yeah, I guess now that I have lots of guitars, having lots of guitars is genuinely. I'm not like advocating that you need to go out and buy a new guitar, but it kind of doesn't hurt to have like the new energy of a different instrument hanging around. So I guess yeah,
But
maybe stay creative. Hit up Ola for new toys.
But are you also saying that part of being creative is like accepting that you're not creative every day
Yeah,
and just being
totally.
patient? Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Cool.
yeah, there's like I guess there's a thing every time I make an album. I don't think it's specifically because I made an album, but I guess it's something that consumes a lot of time and energy, so it feels like a moment like that's marked in time. But when I've finished an album, it becomes really easy to write new stuff that sounds like it's part of that album. And then the trick is trying to figure out like what can be new from there. And it's I guess it's fun because you don't control how you develop as a person. You kind of just have to go along with it, and then once the time has elapsed, you can be like, I like this now. I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start adding a seventh to all my chords, and that's who I am as a person now. And then maybe in 5 years, you're like, wow, all those sevenths were a waste of time. I'm only gonna play power chords.
Right. Next question, Isaac.
Another one with a great profile picture. How do you serve a song by not going overboard with crazy shredding?
I mean, you don't have to. If you've got it, use it. But I think those skills. I guess there's two things. Like, for one, all my favorite guitarists are so much better than me that I don't feel like I'm offering much to the world by displaying my shredding. I feel like it's kind of like, this is what I can do, but also here, like I can name 20 people who do something more interesting. So using it sparingly as a technique to maybe create some excitement or something memorable at a certain moment in a song. I think the thing for me is that the song should be special. I don't know if you heard that, but there's a hammer. Someone's renovating the apartment below mine. They started a couple of days ago. And I think they've finished jackhammering walls and removing tiles from floors and bathrooms. This is an aside, but it was pretty funny when I was moving in, kind of explaining to the landlord, like, yes, I know that my profession is musician, but these days, like, it's quiet, everything's digital, I use headphones a lot, like, I'm not playing a guitar through a 150 watt amp all day and like having a band practice in my kitchen. And I'm probably the quietest tenant in the building. But anyway, what was I talking about? Shredding. Yeah, I think also it's something that I learnt from all the people that I really loved when I was learning guitar, like Steve Vai and John Petrucci and Joe Satriani, is they never usually start a song shredding. Like, it's usually something that gets built to at a certain moment where the song's peaking, and they will do something there. And usually they'll do something that's like a little bit different to other songs. Yeah, so it's a compositional technique like the other ones. I guess you have restraint and you have crazy shredding, and you get to use them both where you see fit.
Question from Jake. What inspired the use of the crescent moon in your branding? And for the record, I do love making those puns on social media. I love it so much.
That's a fun question from a guy named Jake, because I'm pretty sure Jake Bowen from Periphery put out his signature guitar with a crescent moon that's a slightly different crescent, and it's in a different orientation. I think before I did, but I think I had the moon on an EP cover before he did the guitar, so there's no one can really make a claim for it. But yeah, I think the moon happened on the first EP cover. I really don't remember why. I don't know if it was Alex who designed it, an instinct to just put it there, because I guess if you have an image that has kind of like stuff happening, like a ground line, and then there's a sky, you want to put something in the sky. But it appeared on one cover and then became the next cover and kind of stuck ever since. I don't remember how intentional it was. But yeah, I guess it's one of those things. It's like you started making guitars in your garage, and now you have a factory and companies in different countries, and I'm sure it wasn't your plan. But
No, but there are definitely a lot of things on this journey haven't been intentional, and yeah, there are things where we've had to like reverse engineer a story onto it, kind of, or I'm not gonna say reverse engineer a story, but the pieces kind of fall into place after the fact is
yeah.
probably more accurate to say. Interesting. Yeah, I thought that the moon logo was very well thought out, though.
I guess it. I mean, it has been, because now I've used it on everything possible, like, and still, like the other day, I'm getting some new merch designed, and I don't have kind of like a master file of the moon. It's kind of just, it's like it's been bootlegged from other versions. And actually, what I send to anyone that's designing, I usually go to Google Images and type Plini vinyl, and then find a high-res picture and be like, this is the these are the proportions of the specific moon that you should use. But yeah, you sent me the one that you use for that the factory uses for the inlay, and so now I have some sort of definitive file for it.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
Question from Josh. Pliny, what is your reason to play in drop tuning instead of standard? Is it for access to lower notes, or is it to open up the fretboard for different musical ideas?
This is another totally reverse engineered answer, which I've been developing this answer since I started using a drop tuning. Sometimes I claim that it's because when I started playing guitar, I used to love, well, I still love classic rock stuff like Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver, which was all a half step down in like a standard tuning, but a half step down. And then I also loved a lot of drop D music like Trivium and Lamb of God and those sorts of bands. So I ended up in this drop C sharp because I was basically in Guns N' Roses tuning, playing Lamb of God songs. And then it stuck. And I think it probably congealed into more of a habit when I first played a gig. Like I was saying before, I learnt the songs in the drop tuning so I wouldn't have to change guitars. And then that kind of made it like, this is the tuning that I use. And I guess also playing mostly guitars with a floating bridge means committing to a tuning, at least until you want to set it up again. So I've kind of just stuck with the tuning until my more recent days of lavishly having multiple guitars. I mostly had one or two guitars as well. So if I was kind of going on tour in a month, I wouldn't want to reset up my guitar to play in a different tuning, so that basically I would be writing, playing, recording, all in that drop tuning, which I guess, yeah, it came from like I was just doing it and then it stuck and now I'm used to it. Yeah, but I guess to answer the second part of the question, originally it was to have lower notes because that's what I liked hearing from those bands that I was listening to. And now that it's the tuning that I'm comfortable with, that's how I write, and that's sort of how I think about the guitar now, is having that low string that's the same as the third string, or the fourth. I still don't know. After all these years, I still don't know which one's the first string. Yeah.
Pliny, do you still use 1046 strings?
I have changed to 9-46, which is from touring with Jakub Żetecki for quite a while and admiring his, when he wants to, extremely wide vibrato. So yeah, I don't think the right word's downgraded, but I guess downsized to 9-46. So on the higher, I still don't know, highest, I guess higher pitched strings. Yeah, it's just easier to kind of go crazy with the vibrato. And also, I used to play 9-46 or maybe even 9-42 or whatever that standard set is, until I started playing live and we didn't have in-ear monitors or anything, so I couldn't always hear myself that clearly. So I wanted heavier strings because that would ensure that I was kind of playing in tune more. And I think it was a combination of not hearing myself properly and like being new to playing live, having like this nervous vibrato where I could be sitting in between notes without realizing. So having the thicker strings kind of helped me know, like, this is a note and this is not a note.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that we got in-ears and I can kind of hear what I'm doing, it's fun to be able to bend a little more.
Because I'm I'm just realizing here as we speak that a lot of signature guitars come in the tuning, they come set up in the tuning of the signature artist. So maybe we should ship your guitars set up for drop C sharp.
I thought about this.
And to those that, I mean, tell us what you think, and you that are watching, also tell us what you think in the comments field.
Yeah, I thought about this the other day. I was listening to a podcast with Corey Wong and John Mayer, and they were talking about their signature guitars. And that got me just thinking about, I guess, people buying a signature guitar. I feel like, at least for mine, not necessarily everyone who is buying it because they like me particularly or they want to play my songs. I feel like it's a model of Strandberg that looks a certain way and has certain features. So I'm not sure that it would be helpful necessarily. Like, I wonder if the average, not average as in like bad, but average as in like probability wise, the average customer is going to play one of my songs when they get the guitar, or is going to play like their own songs or something else.
Yeah. Because like you said about the in-ears, and it does require a way lighter touch to play drop C sharp on a 946 set than to play in standard tuning with the 1046. You're going to sound out of tune if you're not very light-handed.
Yeah, I guess I haven't even thought about that. Is like, and then people who maybe that's their first Strandberg, they're going from whatever silly clunky instrument they had before and then getting this like new neck profile, new body shape, and the tension's all like very different to what they're used to. Maybe it's too much, but maybe it's also like the right thing to do is to commit to it being my instrument, so you'll get it exactly how I like it, and then you can, whatever you do next is up to you.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can have an option.
Yeah, that's an idea.
At checkout, like you can have sensible setup, or you can have one of my preferred setup, which is, I don't know, maybe I'll go even lighter. I feel like I'd probably do like 7 to 52 or something.
That is actually a good idea, though. We've done development on the fly live before, and it's fun. So yeah, that is actually a good idea. Again, you folks that are watching, let us know in the comments field what you think on this matter. And Isaac, let's take the next question.
Sure thing. Question from Mark. I've noticed your comment on Rick Beato's interview with Pat Metheny. Do you enjoy seeking inspiration from jazz and jazz fusion musicians?
Yeah, sometimes. Certain ones. I love Pat Metheny. I don't really know all his music because his discography has more minutes in it than minutes that I've been alive. But I love that he's recorded so much and it's so diverse, and he's however old he is and however deep into his career, and he's got so many Grammys. It's like laughable. I think it's his Instagram bio, and I'm not sure if he runs his Instagram, but it's like a very simple, it's just like Pat Metheny, guitarist, like 7,000 time Grammy winner. And it's just like, I mean, I don't like necessarily care about Grammys, but it's just such an awesome accolade. It's like he's the guy of making all kinds of jazz-related music for just years and years and years, and it's constantly evolving and new and exciting. Um, and yeah, I think like that's, I guess, his overall like the shape of his career. I find very inspiring because it doesn't seem like he's ever had to pander to doing anything in particular. Um, like I'm sure there was a time when like the sort of jazz that he was playing was maybe like frowned upon or wasn't considered like the correct thing to do or something like that. And yeah, he's just done whatever he wanted over and over and over again um, to great success. Um, yeah, and I love that about his music, as well as his music having a lot of stuff that's like amazing and fun to listen to.
Another question here. I love your whole discography, but for me, your last two records, Impulse Voices and Sunhead, are from another galaxy. Can you recognize some influences that led to that final style?
Probably the drummer on them, Chris Allison. I feel like, and again, it's kind of like the moon and everything. Like it wasn't intentional. I wasn't thinking, I want to start making music with a drummer that's more like into some more, what's the word? Like fringe style of playing. Like I guess he's into a lot of stuff that's not necessarily typical for like prog metal. But it was a happy accident that I wasn't able to do some shows or something with Troy, who I was playing with at the time, and I vaguely knew Chris from being in another band with Simon, my bass player. So I asked him to do a couple of gigs, and then it turned into some more tours, and then recording those two records. And I think actually it's probably a combination of Chris Allison and Tim Miller, the guitarist. I got heavily into Tim Miller's playing while I was making Sunhead, and that it's kind of similar to Pat Metheny and Alan Holdsworth and those fusion players. Is I'm inspired by them, not necessarily in a way where I have any idea what's going on in their music, but I just really like it because it's full of things that sound new and exciting to me. So I was kind of doing my version of being inspired by Tim Miller and trying different chords and different harmonies and different ways of playing like lead guitar parts. And then I also had this drummer who has a vocabulary that's full of stuff that's also kind of new and different to me. And that was like present on Sunhead, but then way more present on Impulse Voices, because when I was writing that, I knew that Chris would be. My video has disappeared.
Whoops, yeah.
But I guess you still have audio. I'll see the video. Will hopefully
We
come
do
back.
still have audio, yeah. That's weird. Oh, there you go.
Interesting. I guess technology is. You can't have a live stream without something going wrong. But yeah, with Impulse Voices, I knew Chris would be playing on it, so when I was writing it, I was quite sort of lazy and minimalistic with the drum ideas that I programmed, and let him provide his ideas for the songs, and that led to a lot of stuff that's, I guess, a little sideways from maybe something you'd typically hear on those sorts of songs. And now I've forgotten the question, but yeah, I think exploring a wider vocabulary of different ideas, both on the guitar and the other instruments, is maybe what led to those sounding like something that you like to hear.
I was actually going to ask about that. How your composition process changes with this. So you put together like a straw man drum track with your composition, then you get like a suggestion from Chris back, and then do you continue like embellish on the composition based on that, and do you iterate more after that, or do you get like the final drums in that first instant?
It's probably, the composition's usually closer to finished, but with sort of like an open question about what the drums are doing, and so he'll fill it in based on everything else that's happening, which is kind of set. But there was one song which turned into the song called Perfume, where I had like the basic idea for it, and I wasn't sure if I liked it or hated it, because it was definitely, it was like very different, and I thought what the drums did would make or break it, and he came up with like 5 or 6 different ideas for the drum groove, and then we settled on this weird one where the hi-hat's kind of in a place that's not very natural to play, and that kind of, hearing that convinced me to finish the song, because I think if he hadn't come up with anything that helped convince me that it was a good song, I probably would have kept it just as an idea and not finished it. But usually the song will be more or less together with a very bare bones drum track, and then he'll go and do something awesome.
Cool. Next question, Isaac.
What will be the key/major differences between the Bowden Plini Edition and the new NX Plini Edition guitars?
It seems like a planted question. I wonder, meaning the previous bolt-on Bowden, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I read it.
So the body and neck woods have been updated from the ash to mahogany. The neck profile has been updated. The hardware's updated. I think, did we? I don't know if we had the signature pickups when the
We
previous
didn't.
Bowden.
So that. Yeah, so that's also new. Yeah, so it's literally a brand new guitar.
Yeah, that just looks similar thanks to a very, 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 very thin amount of Australian blackwood and a moon.
Yeah, that's right. Because we had your signature pickups only in the Neck-Thru model before. So now with NX we also put them in the regular guitar. Yeah, so quite different. Major upgrade.
Yeah, it's I don't notice, because most of the guitars I have and play are the in-between ones. Like, I have the prototype pickups where the little graphic is the Strandberg star flower. What is that actually? I need to know. What do you call it?
Well, it's an asterisk on the keyboard.
Yeah. So the Strandberg asterisk.
It's our crescent moon.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have,
which kind of happened as an accident. Not it I have a background in computer science, and the first website I ever built for Strandberg, I used a theme that was this software nerd kind of theme. So whatever you typed in as a heading had the dot and the star added to the end. And when you're programming in certain programming languages, that notation is like dot and a star. You're pointing to an address in memory space for in a computer. So it's this software programming nerd theme that I used. So that was kind of by accident, but then the reverse engineered story is that it represents like the seed of innovation that flowers into an idea. So, I mean that was there. It wasn't necessarily formulated as a thought from the beginning, but
Yeah.
makes sense now. It's a better story than your Crescent Moon story.
Yeah, which the abridged version of the story is, I don't know.
All right, next question, Isaac.
Yeah, sure thing. Pliny, how do you go about constructing chords? Do you base them around a riff, or is it the other way around? Another reverse engineer themed question.
Yeah. A bit of both. If there's already a riff, then the riff probably has some sort of chord movement within it that I can extract and then use. But otherwise, I'll just be messing around, and I'll kind of start with a chord progression that's quite basic in terms of it's just the root note with the information of whether it's minor or major, and then I'll start playing around with different inversions and different extra notes, and then removing some notes. So the chord progression on the guitar part might be less obviously kind of doing what the chord movement is. Like it might be more centered around playing a couple of notes in every chord that are like extensions of the chord. But it starts, it'll start in a very simple place or with a riff, and then kind of get iterated into something more sort of, I guess, less obvious. I guess maybe the lesson to be learnt today is that everything is makes more sense in hindsight. There's just a whole lot of journeys being gone on, and then you're like, oh yeah, I guess it made sense. I was over there, and then I was just walking, and now I'm here.
Clearly, I'm conscious of time. Tell us what you're up to in the near future. What can we expect from the Plini world?
I have an EP which is more or less finished. It's almost been finished since sometime last year. We've recorded drums for it. I've sent a couple of the songs to Simon to start mixing, and I have a little bit of kind of like finalizing to do on a couple of other songs. But yeah, that'll come out when it comes out. I originally wanted to release it maybe around the middle of the year, but because all the tours have been kind of shifted a little later, not really in a hurry, so it'll probably be maybe towards the end of the year. But that'll be fun. I've got a bunch of gigs in Australia, and then a couple of short things in Europe, playing Radar Festival and Euroblast Festival, and hopefully a bunch of gigs in some surrounding cities that haven't been announced yet. I've just released today 2 new updated signature Strandberg guitar models, That's probably enough activity. I think that's enough exciting stuff to look forward to.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to having you in Europe and see if we can hook up in person. It's been too long. It'd be fun.
Yeah, when was? I guess it was NAM 2020.
Yeah, it must have been. And then before that, I think we met in France or something.
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah.
had that the trip where we went to Sweetwater.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
That
right.
was-
Yeah, that was 2019 though.
Yeah. France.
The years have flown by way too quickly.
Yeah. When did
Are you are you prepped to play us another song?
I am.
Cool.
I was just gonna
Because
ask.
I'm
when,
sure there are people. Yeah.
When did you sell your first guitar?
Ever?
Yeah, I guess as Strandberg, in a like kind of formal way, where you sold a guitar with the expectation that you would then make another one and sell it as well.
Well, I mean, I completed the first guitar like late 2009, and I built like 3 more prototypes. So I had built 4 guitars that I put up in this forum, Project Guitar, where Chris Letchford hung around. And he contacted me and said, "Hi, I'm Chris. I build guitars, but I play music, so I don't have time to build any more guitars. Can you build me one?" So he got number 5. So literally, Chris Letchford was my first real build-to-order customer. So at that time, I had the expectation to build more, but I did not have the expectation to build a company around it. So that wasn't until 2012 I started like the real company, aside from just doing business as a sole proprietor. So that's when I thought that, well, maybe this is something to make a living from.
I don't know why my video is
Yeah, you went black again.
coming and going. I think it's the camera, but it'll hopefully.
Oh, it's going some power save. Yeah, but anyway, so 2012 was kind of a milestone, I guess. But then, I mean, I had my day job till 2015, so that wasn't too long ago.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And now you just do it, and new models come out. And
Yeah, it's amazing to be an actual team that does things together, and to have a guy named Isaac at the controls of this stream and posting questions and not doing everything myself. So
yeah.
thank you to the entire Strandberg team, I'm going to say. There's several of us nowadays, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've got a big. Actually, is that a virtual background or is that?
This is a virtual
in
background.
The office. Oh, okay. But you have.
No,
in the
you can kind of tell because my
office-
lighting isn't perfect, so it's a little too dark,
Oh yeah.
and it gets
But you do have a giant printed physical
sure.
sign, which is your last name.
Oh, it gets cropped. But my hero poster, less is better. It's you can see it all, but I showed you half.
I'm not convinced that less is better, but sure.
No, less. More is more.
Yeah. On that note, I guess I will play another song.
Yes, please.
This, shall I play the song and then disappear forever, or shall I come back after the song for a final?
Play the song, come back, we'll wave and say goodbye, and then
Sounds good.
we're gone forever. Or until next stream or live appearance.
Very dramatic. All right then.
All right,
Let's
so
do it.
I'm just gonna say to the internet community that thank you so much for watching, bearing with us despite a minor technical glitch here and there. Thanks for staying with us. We'll also visit this stream archives on YouTube and Facebook and respond to some of your questions and comments, those that we couldn't address here in the stream. So until next time, take care and hope to see you soon.
That was some great timing for my camera to turn off again, but it seems that it will last for like 3 or 4 minutes if I turn it off and turn it on again. So hopefully it's about to reappear. And now we can play a song.
Well, oh, did you stop the music on purpose?
Did the music stop, or did it stop when it was meant to?
I don't know. It sounded intentional, but since the screen was dark, I wasn't sure.
The the the, the camera turned off again about 10 seconds before the song ended, and
All right.
what you didn't hear, which is great, thanks to everything being direct, which you can probably hear now, is a drill. So while I was playing,
beautiful.
even though it's Saturday morning, so I thought it would be safe. I guess they want their bathroom to be renovated. So
All
yeah.
right.
So yeah, it's gonna be a pleasure to wrap up this stream and then sit and listen to a jackhammer all day.
Awesome. Well, let's get back to plan. Wave to our beautiful fans out there in internet space. And yeah, brilliant to talk to you, Plini. It's been a while, but I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. Go buy a guitar.
All right,
something
people.
I forgot is
Yeah.
there is a new playthrough video for the song Impulse Voices, which if I did my job correctly would have come out automatically on YouTube, which you can watch, and it has both the new guitars in it, and I re-recorded all the guitar parts with them, and it looks very pretty. So
Yeah, and
enjoy.
it sounds very pretty. I mean, it's a very fresh new version of the song, which is really enjoyable. Very, very cool.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you
And
everyone.
yeah, I should say you can buy the guitars in our shop as well now, since roughly an hour ago. Okay, folks. Now we'll wrap up. Thanks, everyone. See you soon, I hope.